All right, let's talk about something wild. Going from 0 to $3 million a year in recurring revenue, that's the dream for most businesses. But doing it in just 18 months, that's just meteoric. So how on earth did they do it? Let's break down the playbook.
Yeah, you heard that right. $3 million. We're not talking about a slow, steady climb over a decade. This was an absolute explosion of growth, the kind of hyper growth that really separates the winners from the ones that fizzle out. And they did it at a pace that's honestly hard to wrap your head around. So the big question is, how? What was the secret sauce? Well, here's the thing. There wasn't one single silver bullet. It wasn't some magic trick. It was a series of really smart, distinct strategies, each one perfectly matched to where they were in their journey. So let's walk through it, stage by stage. Every single great startup story starts right here, in what we call the early grind. You know what I'm talking about? It's that phase where you're doing all the stuff that feels completely unscalable. The manual, nitty-gritty, time-sucking work you have to do to land those first, absolutely crucial customers and just learn from them. So to get from 0 all the way to that first 30K, they didn't just stick to one plan. Nope. They actually used two totally different tactics. The first one was super direct, kind of aggressive, just to get that initial 5K in the door. Then they shifted to something else entirely, a more community-focused approach to really push them up to that $30,000 mark. And that first tactic? Oh, man. It was brilliant in its simplicity. It's called the student cold call. Instead of hitting someone with a hard sales pitch right away, you lead with, "Hey, I'm a student, and I just want to learn more about what you do." It's such a simple switch, but it completely changes the dynamic, right? It goes from a sales call they want to hang up on to a simple request for help. And that buys you a few precious extra seconds, which in a cold call is literally everything. Okay, so right about now you're probably thinking, but wait, I'm not a student. And the founder's advice on this is super clear. No, don't lie. That's just weird. But you can be a student of your market. You can enroll in an online class, find some way to genuinely be learning. The point is, authenticity is everything here. So that cold calling strategy, it worked. It got them fast cash and, maybe even more importantly, instant feedback from real people. But they knew it was a dead end. You just can't scale that forever. So they made a really smart pivot. They switched to a strategy that was the complete opposite, a super slow burn. They started immersing themselves in Facebook groups. It took way longer for sure, but the payoff was huge, building real, deep relationships with their perfect customers. And let's be clear, this wasn't about just dropping into a Facebook group and spamming links to their product. No way. This was about becoming a real, genuine member of the community. They were in there every day, engaging, helping people, building actual friendships with the key players. And only after they'd built that trust did they privately share what they were working on. This approach didn't just get them users, it created their first true evangelists, people who would go out and sell the tool for them. All right, so they've done the hard yards. They've built a solid foundation. They have a product people genuinely love. Now we get to the fun part. This next phase is all about catching lightning in a bottle. This is where the growth curve stops being a nice little slope and just goes vertical. To make that jump, the whole strategy had to shift. The stuff that got them to 30K wasn't going to get them to the next level. They adopted this new philosophy. You have to explore before you can exploit. So what does that mean? It means they started throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. They were experimenting with everything: paid ads, influencers, partnerships, any scalable channel they could think of. And then it happened. After all this exploration, all these different experiments, their big break came from somewhere they weren't even looking. It was this lucky break, an influencer who'd probably seen one of their other ads or posts, just randomly tweeted about their tool. And just look at the impact of that one tweet. Boom, it quadrupled their revenue in 1 month. They went from 30K to 120K ARR. This wasn't just growth. This was a total inflection point for the entire company. And we're not talking about a tweet that just did pretty well. We're talking 348,000 likes. It became one of the most viral tweets about AI ever. It single-handedly rewrote their company's future. So here's the key takeaway from all this. Was it luck? Kind of, but it's not the whole story. They didn't create the luck, but they created the conditions for luck to strike. This is a concept called the surface area of luck. By exploring all those different channels, by putting themselves out there in so many ways, they just dramatically increase the odds that someone, somewhere, would see them and give them that big shot. Okay, so riding a viral wave is amazing. It's exhilarating, but it's also fleeting. Turning that one-time moment of magic into a sustainable, multi-million-dollar business, that's a whole different ballgame. This next stage is about moving from luck to building a real, repeatable growth machine.
After that viral tweet, they did what anyone would do. They doubled down on what was working, which for them was short-form video, and it was absolutely explosive for a while. But then, winter break hit. People went on vacation, algorithms changed, and suddenly their growth engine just died. It was a terrifying moment. They realized they were a one-trick pony, and their entire business was at the mercy of the TikTok algorithm. That scare was a huge wake-up call. It kicked off this immediate, almost frantic push to diversify. They started pulling all their eggs out of that one TikTok basket. They built out referral programs, they 10x'd their influencer marketing budget, they finally got serious about SEO, and they fired up paid ads. They weren't just looking for growth anymore, they were building a safety net. But even that wasn't enough to get them to the $3 million mark. This required another huge mental shift. See, they realized that growth isn't just about what's happening on the outside, getting more clicks, more views, more people to the website. The next level of truly sustainable growth, it comes from the inside. It comes from making your existing system way more efficient. And get this, just look at the data. After they obsessed over optimizing things internally, like their conversion rates and reducing churn, they had this 1 month that was just mind-blowing. They got only 63% of the traffic they had before, but they generated 1.8 times more revenue. Let that sink in. Less traffic, almost double the money. That is the incredible power of internal optimization. So, when you step back and look at the whole journey, from literally $0 to $3 million in 18 months, you start to see this clear pattern emerge. There's this core philosophy, this kind of founder's cycle, that guided every single decision they made, no matter what stage they were in. And it really all boils down to this one simple but incredibly powerful cycle. It's a constant loop of exploring and exploiting. You explore a ton of different strategies. When you find one that hits, you exploit the heck out of it. You double down, you squeeze every drop of growth you can from it. And then when it starts to plateau, what do? You go right back to exploring again. It's this beautiful, constant rhythm of discovery and then optimization. And that really leaves us with one final thought to take with you. As you think about your own thing, your business, your project, whatever you're building, and you look at your next stage of growth, just ask yourself this one simple question. Right now, are you in an exploring phase, or is it time to exploit?